Hello everybody, my name is Nick Rennels, also known as Retro Co on Instagram. We're here with Dan and Premier, hiding over there. And we're shooting a collection video today, so without further ado, let's get started. We're starting off with some Nike pieces. One of my favorites, we got a 80s piece right here. Just the colors, and you can see it's just paper thin, probably see me through it. But I love this piece. It's just got a lot of vibrancy to it and just kind of speaks to me. Second off, so a little backstory between these. These are called the Beer Relay by Nike. What it is basically Nike every year just kind of as like a incentive program for all of their employees. They would go and do beer relays, and they would let every department go and design a t-shirt, and then the departments would go and kind of battle against each other. So it'd be advertising versus marketing versus the tech side of it, the guys who are actually designing the shoes. And so yeah, this one, you can go, it says Nike International, and then it has their different divisions that they were selling out of: Asia Pacific, Canada, Europe, and then Latin America. So these guys would have been the ones who were the European division, basically. I got this shirt and then a few of the next ones from a guy who worked at Nike from the late 70s up until the 90s, and he worked on the Jordan campaign. And kind of created the Jordan campaign. So you're going to see some cool pieces that were kind of employee-only pieces. This being the next one, it was for the Nike 180. It's got a very pop art look to it, kind of like a Warren Buffett-looking character. But yeah, it was for the sales launch. You can see it says world launch of the Nike 180, and it's been heavily loved, as you can see. But another great piece that is dear to me. Got the Air Revolution here, and yeah, you have the Air Molecule. This one isn't an employee shirt, but it is one that you just don't see very often, and especially not worn. Nike back in the 80s was on another level of design. They just kind of, it ascended beyond just a shoe, and it really turned into an art form with everything that they were putting out, pretty much. Another one from this guy's collection. This is a 77 Athletics West. This is as Nike was transitioning. You can see it has Nike in there, so it's kind of more of an early homage piece to Athletics West, which is the second name of Nike. Nike, when they first started out with Bill Bowerman, was Blue Ribbon Sports, and they were selling out of a place, and then basically he went to some people and they're like, that name's terrible, and so they turned into Athletics West when he started doing kind of some of the running teams with Steve Prefontaine and a lot of the people that they were working with in Oregon. They became Athletics West before Nike. So that's kind of a transition period of Nike right there. These next two pieces are pieces you'll probably not see again ever, if not for a very long time. This is when they were creating the Jordan 3. It does have the Jordan 1 logo on there. It's the Wings logo, and it's on the 80s tag, and if you see on the side, it says 1987. It was for the sales launch of the Jordan 3, which is just kind of interesting because at that time they really weren't using the Wings logo anymore, so it's kind of interesting that they put that on the t-shirt. And then this piece looks very insignificant, but might be the most significant of the Nike pieces I'm showing today. This again is owned by the same employee that I bought a lot of his collection from. This is from the rookie camp of '84. You can see this is where Nike was basically getting Michael Jordan to sign over because he was in between Converse and Adidas and really didn't want to go and work for Nike at all. And yeah, this is what he was wearing when they were talking Michael Jordan into moving over to Nike. So I wish the guys from Air knew that I had this before they shot the movie. I might have been able to help him out a little bit with some history. Next two pieces. This is my favorite line that Nike has ever done because it's just kind of a crossover of comic books. Dark Horse Comics went and created this comic book called Godzilla versus Barkley, and Nike and Toho, the guys who created Godzilla, basically all collaborated together and made this campaign, which was Godzilla versus Barkley. Sorry, got my phone ringing here. And basically on the outside here, though, we have an employee jacket from the campaign, and you can see Godzilla versus Barkley on the back. It's got Godzilla blowing fire onto Barkley. And then just the details on this are crazy. You have sea bass leather here to replicate Godzilla's scales, and on the pockets as well. So just the quality of this one's really incredible, and another piece that's really hard to find. It took me years to get this one into the collection. All right, and the last of the Nike pieces, we have a Korean exclusive jacket for the Jordan 7. And just the color blocking is very telling of the time, very early 90s. And with a lot of these jackets at the time, they just put so much detail, like this patch inside, stuff you just don't see anymore at all. And just the quality, quilted silk lining in it, it's just really incredible. 23 on the zipper. And then the back side, you have the Jordan 7 logo. So another piece that's just really incredible. All right, transitioning from the Nike pieces that you guys saw in the other room, we're going to more pieces in my personal collection that are more like pop culture and true vintage. So starting out, we have the 60s Adam West Batman here. I've always been a Batman / comic book fan. I do like Marvel more, but you literally cannot beat Adam West Batman. I mean, some of the sayings in it just are ridiculous, like holy alphabetical soup, Batman. Stupid stuff like that just cracks me up every day. This one is another favorite of mine. When it comes to movies, I'm a huge Bond person, so this is Dr. No, one of the original members of Spectre, and you got it on a good Stanley dishonest tag there. Always, everybody loves those. As you can see, it's very, very loved. It's got a bunch of Swiss cheese holes, as I would call them, and yeah, great t-shirt, great wear on that one. Coming up next, one of the best franchises of all time. You have, this is from the scenes from A New Hope. At the very front, you have the X-Wing with the Star Wars logo, and then some of the intro there, you can see it's got a long time ago in a galaxy far away. But then on the back, you can see one of the final scenes from A New Hope where Luke is going through the X-Wing, through the Death Star after he's exploded it. And one of my favorite like minor details from it is it's on a Disney tag. It was probably sold in the Star Tours shop, but it's just funny because, you know, years later Disney bought all the rights to Star Wars, so it kind of came full loop. It's one of those life imitating art, or vice versa, who knows. Next we have, I'm a huge Nintendo person, and so this is a Nintendo Power shirt. You would have been able to buy it through the magazine back in the day. Get some good light on it there. And I just love Mario, Nintendo in general, so this one's always kind of spoke to me. It's a good daily wear shirt. I wear this one all the time. And yeah. Next we have another really thrash damaged piece. You can see it's gotten a lot of love, and it just speaks of the culture. of the shirt. This is a 90s Vans shirt. You can see it's got some of their sayings on there, like skate or die, off the wall, yowza, skate. But yeah, you got a guy going and looking like he's doing an ollie there, and just another great piece. You don't see too many all over prints from skate culture in the 90s, so that one's always been interesting to me. Next, we have maybe one of the most expensive pieces in my collection. This one I have had for a long time, and I've had some good offers on it, but I just can't seem to get rid of it. This is an 80s mosquito head. You got Boris Karloff on the front there. That is the original Frankenstein. Mosquito Head was a company that originally came out of Europe and just was really big in the punk culture, alternative culture scene. And why these pieces became so valuable is a lot of the first run, which this is from, they didn't know how to go and deneutralize the bleach, and so basically the bleach just ate away at all of these shirts, and probably 90% of them disintegrated throughout the years. And another cool little feature from this one that you don't see on too many mosquito heads is it has this drip pattern that you can see on the neckline. Most of them kind of have like a misty pattern from a spray bottle, but they were kind of experimenting with their design there, and so the drip pattern's pretty rare as well. So another beauty. Right here we have Rolling Stones Voodoo Lounge. This is from 94, 95 tour, I believe. And Stones are a band that my mom and I have always bonded on, and she thankfully gave me some good music taste at a young age, and just listening to them together, I've always kind of associated the Stones with her, so this tee always reminds me of her, and just a great tee in general. You have the devil and some skeletons sitting at a seance table, kind of, it looks like, so another good one. I know wrap tees have died off in the last few years, but this is the first wrap tee I ever pulled, probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, somewhere a long way down the line. I've had a few wrap tees since then, but this one I just can't or won't get rid of for any amount of money. I found it 40 minutes after a rotation at the Goodwill bins, and so this one's always had a special place in my heart. But then on the back you have the, I wonder if heaven's got a ghetto, and you got Tupac's face there and him praying, so another really cool one. It's on the net tag, which usually they're on Bay Clubs or other knockoff t-shirts from back in the day. We're moving kind of from pop culture into some still pop culture, but more true vintage. This is a piece that I got from a good friend of mine, Carson. I think that Dan was telling me that this is maybe actually in the background of another video that he did. So I bought this piece from Carson after a collection, the Vintage Collective, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And it's from the 60s. It's got a lot of cinematography all the way from like the early 1900s into about the late 50s. And it's some really early pop art on it as well. You can see just a few small hints of some yellows and greens contrasting with the navy blue. And it's one piece that I've tried to do so much research on this, and it's just really hard to figure out where this came from, who designed it. You know, whoever went and created this had a lot of knowledge not only of cinematography, but, you know, pop art was very new at the time. It wasn't very popular at the time. And so somebody who had that knowledge and then the ability to go and print, you know, a huge sheet of fabric like this to make a shirt out of is pretty incredible. So there's anybody who's watching this that has any more information on this, I would love to know. It's one of my favorite pieces in my collection, and Carson, thank you for letting me own this one. Continuing with some pop art. This piece also has a little bit of mystery behind it. I bought this from a gentleman that lived in New York. It's one of those that it's where, myth and reality, you don't really know where the truth lies in between. The guy that I bought this from claimed that he worked with Keith Haring prior to his pop-up shop in the early 80s, and said that this was a sweatshirt that Haring printed personally for himself. This design, you can go and find this art piece, but I have never seen this on a shirt, let alone late 70s, early 80s sweatshirt. So this is one piece that probably will stay with me for a very long time. I love Keith Haring, and just, what he meant to the early movement of, the LGBT community and AIDS. It just kind of revolutionized not only art, but the thought process and acceptance in between normal people that, weren't always accepting of that community, and it kind of bridged the gap in between that. So I love this piece, and I love Haring. Next we have a early 70s Levi's Ringer. One, I love stuff that's dirty and gross, and I don't know, it just, a lot of the times we glamorize these clothes, and if you saw where we picked them from, I don't know if you'd ever want to wear them. So like when I see something that's in this condition, it just, I don't know, it brings a little bit of light into my soul, because I'm like, yeah, this reminds me of the barn or the attic or the basement that I picked it from. It's not in great condition, but it tells a story. This is kind of the earliest usage of the lowercase e in the Levi's logo. In the early 70s, they transitioned from the big E to the little e there. And I love Ringer tees, so this is another one that I love. Love to wear it every now and then, but it's a little snug on me, so it's more of a wall hanger these days. All right, this next piece is just a sentimental piece to me. Basically, I'll give you a transition of all of these. So my dad owned a company called Tudorville Trolley Company, and later became Bronco Billy's Wild West Snow Cone Show. But basically, my dad, here's the hat right there, built and manufactured snow cone carts and sold them all across the United States and some to Europe and South America. So it's just a really cool family piece that I found. My dad passed, and so after he passed, I found this piece, and it just means even more to me. But kind of an addition to this, outside of the clothes side, this is a piece of art that I want to say it was Bob Peak went and painted this for my dad's company back in the probably early 80s. Bob Peak was the guy that designed the Superman posters for the 1978 Christopher Reeve Superman. So just kind of a cool piece, another family history piece that ties in together with these. All right, this is a piece of Indiana history. A few years ago, nobody really knew what senior chords are. I'm sure a lot of people watching this today will have some knowledge, or maybe have seen them before and don't exactly understand where they came from or why they're related to Indiana. Back in the late 30s, early 40s, a tradition was started at Purdue, which I'm an IU fan, so we'll let that one slide. Purdue did a few things right. But basically, this is a late 50s, early 60s pair of senior corduroys. And what it is when they would go and graduate from college, they would go and put little bits and pieces of their life or their college experience on these pants that represented them. So like on the bottom there, you can go and see he's got a list of some of his friends' names. And I love this piece up here. It says fuel injection. You have a guy looking to be maybe shooting some heroin or something. But you know, some of them have characters like Mickey Mouse and stuff, and so finding a kind of raunchier pair is right up my alleyway. And then you have the Challenger 1 there that broke the land speed record at the time, and little tiny details like you have Dumbo on the pocket here coming out of the pocket, and you have his tail on the other side. And then on the back here, it says Speed Kings. That was his racing group, so he obviously, you can tell he liked cars and anything with a motor, it seems like. And you have a Model A hot rod there that says Dream Car. And just pieces like this really go and tell you a lot about the person without ever meeting or seeing them, you know. And so I love history. I love Indiana history, and senior cords are always going to have a special place in my collection. So yeah. All right. Second to last piece here, we have 68 Rose Bowl, Indiana. And I love these short sleeve sweaters. They just, they don't make them anymore. It's not really a style thing anymore. And you have this felt printing on it. And you can see they went and hand colored in the rose there. And a lot of these are just in terrible condition. The felt didn't stick to the sweatshirt very well, so most of them kind of disintegrated off the piece. I found this one pretty recently, and I was very stoked because it's in incredible condition, and I'm a huge IU fan, so go Hoosiers. The last piece that we're going to end with the collection is this is a World War II bomber. I got this from the grandson of Sergeant William Cooper. He lived out of Sturgis, Kentucky, which is pretty close to me. And this is an A2 bomber. It's an Air Force jacket that was issued at the time. On the back of it, we have some folk art, which is his plane. It was called the Super Wolf. It was a super fortress, and basically when you go and you're looking at these bombs right here, it represents a mission that they flew. So each bomb was a mission that they successfully completed, and so they would go and paint a bomb in every time that they successfully came back from a mission. The interesting thing about this piece and why it is so impressive to me is the Super Wolf was actually shot down in February of 1945 during the war, and everybody, including William Cooper, became prisoners of war in the Holland area, and they weren't liberated until I think April of 1945, so about 5-6 months later they were liberated. But the fact that this survived the war and survived a prisoner of war camp in Germany is just incredible to me, and made its way back to the States and into my collection is just a blessing to me. I'm very grateful to own a piece of history like this. I love World War II history and knowing, you know, not only who owned it, but the story behind the piece. And I was very grateful to go and also get some, to set this down. I got some original photos from William Cooper. The first one we'll start out on is this is them flying over enemy airspace, and his grandson was telling me that his grandpa always told him that this photo was very illegal because they were not supposed to be taking any pictures in enemy airspace. But obviously you just have the sky behind it. You have a Thunderbolt there, and you have 3 other flying fortresses, which were the Thunderbolt was actually built here in Evansville, Indiana, so that's kind of a cool piece of history. And then the Super Fortress was kind of one of the planes that won the war. It was a bombing plane, and the underside of it had a gunner on it, so it also could shoot down other planes while in the air. And then the second picture right here, we have the Super Wolf behind everybody that worked on the plane. The third over is William Cooper himself there. And yeah, he's sitting with everybody else that flew missions with him. So that is the end of my collection. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and thank you guys so much for letting me share it with you. Peace out, and hope you guys enjoy.